Today I woke up to the news that actor and really 1960s icon Sean Connery died at the age of 90. He was born in Scotland in 1930, and he died early this morning at his home in the Bahamas. And I'm sure, you know, he'd been retired from films, I believe, in 2006. And he had a long, distinguished career as an actor. He made a few television appearances, and then he hit it big in films with the James Bond films, and he was the first, known as the first James Bond, and he was in 7 of those movies altogether, spanning the years 1962 with Dr. No to Never Say Never Again, 1983. And so he was always identified with that. And I'm probably the only person in the Western civilization who has never seen a single Bond film. And I guess I need to get around to doing that one of these days, especially the Connery films. But they were based on, those films were based on novels by Ian Fleming. And he made a pile of money on it, but Fleming died in 1964 of a heart attack, so he didn't really get to live long enough to really see it become a huge franchise. I mean, he made money, but he would have made more money if he'd have lived. But with that Bond mania, you might say, it spilled over into television, and there were numerous television shows that were based on secret agents and stuff like that. I could list a few of them, like I Spy, The Man from U.N.C.L.E., the spoof Get Smart, The Wild Wild West. Oh God, there were countless. If I wanted to sit around and think about it, there were tons of these shows that were loosely based or influenced by the Bond films. So he was real popular, and he lived a long life. He wore a toupee in his early years, and then he shed the rug later on, and it didn't really affect him. And you know, he was a sex symbol. I really didn't see it. I really couldn't see it. I thought John Gavin had him beat in the looks department, you know, any day of the week, any time of the year. But what I kind of want to talk about a little bit, and you know, he's barely been cold, and you know, he had people who loved him and stuff, but what's mentioned in a lot of these remembrances is he had very backward ideas about women, and his character apparently of James Bond apparently did too. Like I said, I haven't seen the movies, and I will one of these days get around to it before I croak, but as I said, he had very backward ideas, and yeah, many men of his generation had the same thing, but he thought it was okay to hit women, and that wasn't acceptable even among men in his generation or men of my dad's generation. I mean, that was appalling. You didn't do that to women. But with him, it makes you wonder what kind of upbringing he had. To have that kind of attitude. But he infamously talked about it to Barbara Walters, and this was, I don't remember how many years ago this was. He probably, well, if he was married to his second wife for 35 years or something, then this had to be in the early 2000s, because he married his second wife, and I'm not going to try to pronounce her name. Was born a year before he was. But she was a painter, and then I'll go back further. His first wife was actress Diane Cilento. I think I pronounced it right, maybe not. And she was an Australian actress, and she was known for her part in the movie Tom Jones, among other roles. But she had alleged that he had beaten her up. And I don't know what you say about that, because his attitude is just appalling. So here he talks about slapping women in this clip.
You did an interview in which you said Not the worst thing to slap a woman now and then. As I remember, you said you don't do it with a clenched fist. It's better to do it with an open hand. Yeah, remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I didn't love that.
I haven't changed my opinion.
You haven't?
No, not at all.
You think it's good to slap a woman?
No, I don't think it's good.
You don't think it's bad,
I don't think it's that bad. I think that it depends entirely on the circumstances and if it merits it. Yeah.
What would merit it?
Well, if you have tried everything else, and women are pretty good at this, they can't leave it alone. They don't want to have the last word, and you give them the last word, but they're not happy with the last word. They want to say it again and get into a really provocative situation. Then I think it's absolutely right.
Oh my God, can you believe this? Can you believe this? Now, what I understand is Sean Connery was 6'2", and he was very well built. He had done some bodybuilding and stuff. So any woman who dared to piss him off, she would probably have been hospitalized. Even if he gave her just a slap, rather than an outright fist to the face. He'd probably hospitalize a woman or kill him. To be fair, he condemned abuse of women in his later years, but unfortunately, this kind of attitude followed him throughout his life. It damaged his reputation. So I would say, even though it's too late for Sean now, and apparently he learned that was a wrong attitude. I think the lesson to be learned is to keep, if you're a public figure, to keep your mouth shut. And don't say things that are provocative, to use that word, or stupid things, or things that people know are just absolutely repellent. And Sean Connery should have kept his mouth shut on that. But anyway, it was the end of an era. So that's another 1960s icon who has passed from the scene. And that just tells me that I'm just getting older and older and older, and more of these people are dying off. So that's all I had to say for today.